welcome to Quarantini Time, a show where I get to chat with my friends and family while enjoying a delicious beverage with them. Tonight on my show, please welcome my friend, Jaime Ramos. Hey, Jaime, welcome to Quarantini Time.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What are we drinking tonight?
It was hot green tea, but now it's iced because it's hot in my house.
I love a good tea night. Cheers. So I met you years and years and years ago. You went to film school with my friends Josh and Isaac and John, and you filmed some films out at my old house.
Yes, you were very nice to let us do that.
That was so much fun. I love that. And you actually ended up marrying one of those guys, didn't you?
Yes, oddly enough, I married Isaac, which is really funny. And I met pretty much everyone at the same time, but like separately. Like especially Josh and Isaac, I both met in classes the same semester. And then when they came together, they knew each other like really well. I was like, oh, I did not know.
I know from stalking you on Facebook and living vicariously through you, you and your family, along with your two kids, went down to, was it Florida last year to go to Disney and Universal and all that?
Yeah, for Thanksgiving and then into that first week of December, we did Disney and Universal because I was going to do all at once. Flying down with the kids. I was like, nope, we're going to stay a while and do everything because I'm not doing that flight alone more. But it was a lot of fun.
So you're probably one of the biggest Harry Potter fans I know of, right along with Rebecca Vega. She's the other one. How is that Wizarding World of Harry Potter down there? I was so jealous and I can't wait to go.
You have to, I've been like, I think this was my fourth time. I'd gone twice when it was just, because it used to just be Hogsmeade, and then they added Diagon Alley, and so I've been twice to both, like when it was just Hogsmeade and now to the other one. But it's amazing. I remember the first time I went, at the end of the night, I was with my dad and my brother and stuff, and they like, should we just leave, blah blah, because it was like getting close, and I was like, can we just sit here, because you just feel like you're in the world, like it's so amazing. I'm like, I just want to sit here and pretend that I'm hanging out. And when I took my husband for the first time, we did the same thing. We just sat in I think the Hogshead, and he drank a beer, and I was like, I just want to pretend I live here. It's amazing.
Which do you prefer, Harry Potter books to Harry Potter movies?
Definitely books. I've had to come to terms with the movies. I love aspects of pretty much every movie, but it was really hard. That was like my first experience, because Harry Potter came out when I was like 10 or 11. My first experience really with adaptation, and I was like, what? But it's grown on me, and I just see them as two different things now. And I love, like, Deathly Hallows Part 1 is one of my favorite movies, which is saying a lot because I watch a lot of movies.
What is your favorite out of the books?
My favorite book is probably Half-Blood Prince. I think it's just, it's really, really well written. It's very concise. It's just like, she really hit her groove there. And I think she had a lot of that book planned out for years and years ago. And it really shows. I love that book.
Out of all the characters on Harry Potter, in the books, in the movies, who's your favorite, if you could pick one? Right
now I'm really into Luna, but I always go back to Dumbledore. I think Dumbledore is a very complex character, and I love what she did with him. He, like, for me as like a child who grew up with, he taught me so much about our heroes and what to expect from our heroes, and our that everyone's human and everyone makes mistakes. And I know a lot of people, the older you get, they have issues with Dumbledore, but I love that about him, that he's not just like this perfect archetypal like mentor. That's what I'm thinking of. But
very sordid past that you didn't learn about until very late into the stories.
And I think that's really cool how she did that, because you grew up like Harry and you like idolize him, and he's like Harry's mentor, and Harry never doubts him for like all the books, because that's how we are as children. We like look up, he believes everything he hears about him, he trusts everything he says. And then when he gets to be an adult, he discovers like, oh, there's so much more to you I didn't know about you. There's things you've done I don't agree with. And I think we all do. I think especially with our parents, it's like the day you figure out your parents are humans and you're like, oh, you did that? Or like when you made that decision to ground me or something, you didn't really know what you were doing. Like you just guessed. Like, it's like, oh, and I love that she did that with him.
So complete opposite of Harry Potter. We also share a love of a terrible teenage television show called Pretty Little Liars. I was obsessed with that. Why were you so obsessed with it?
I think, well, at first I got into it because I love that kind of stuff. Like, I hadn't read the books or anything like that. I'm kind of glad, because I probably wouldn't have liked the show as much if I had read the books, because I'm not one really for like teen drama, but I just love the mystery of it. And I feel like the pilot episode is actually really good. And I know people make fun of me all the time for watching Pretty Little Liars. Like, it's not the greatest acting or thing, but it's done really well. And like the mystery behind it. And then like they just keep pulling you back because like they'll reveal who A is. And then there's a new A. And then there's this. And you're like, and all of a sudden you're finding yourself like kind of okay with like inappropriate teacher student relationships. And you're like, oh.
So besides that amazing show, are you binge watching anything right now?
So I just binge watched The Stranger on Netflix. That was pretty good. We did Tiger King like everybody else. That was a rough one for me. I'm an animal lover, so it made me a little emotional. And then I'm always rewatching The Office. It's hard for me to do new things all the time. Like, so I just go back to Office, Cheers, Frasier, like my old standby.
So you have two littles in your life. How has life changed for the four of you since this whole thing started?
So I'm pretty much a stay-at-home mom. So like that part of it, it's kind of the same, the day-to-day. Like me and Amelie are mostly home for the most part. My daughter, she's almost 2. So Isaac's home now all the time. We share a house with my parents, so they're home all the time now, which isn't as bad as I thought. It's, we all have our space and there's like room for everyone and everything. So that helps. And it's kind of nice that my kids can go hang out with my parents for a little while and stuff every once in a while. But it's a lot, like my son he goes to preschool for like half the day. So he's not doing that. He also has autism. So he gets a lot of his therapies and stuff through school. So it's been kind of put on me now to do that stuff. And I'm like, there's a reason you go to school. So that's been hard. And I think the hardest part is worrying about the future, not thinking about like, okay, what happens when Isaac goes back to work and everyone's used to being home all the time? I mean, he's working, but at least he's here to kind of help. And like, my son has to jump from like half day preschool to nothing to full day kindergarten. So it's a lot of worry.
Well, at the end of every show, I like to do the James Lipton COVID-19 questionnaire. I am sure that you have heard of James Lipton.
That, and when I saw your first few interviews when you did that, I love James Lipton. That's one of my favorite shows. That's one of the shows I used to watch as a teenager. I'd stay up late and watch Bravo when Bravo was just like Celebrity Poker and Project Runway and then Inside the Actor Studio were like all I wanted to watch. So I would watch that and then I would watch Cheers and go to bed.
Since I watched that as a teenager, have always wanted to ask a questionnaire to all my friends, and this is where I love doing it because I get to learn so many things about you just through some pretty simple questions, honestly. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
What's your favorite word?
My favorite word is probably happy.
What is your least favorite word?
Stupid.
Who would you most like to be in a stay-at-home quarantine with?
Probably, outside of my husband and kids, probably my little brother. We just get along really well. We have enough differences, but we have enough in common that we could like have fun together, I think. And it would be nice to spend time with him.
Who would you least like to be in a stay-at-home quarantine with?
Probably, this sounds awful, but probably a child that was not my own.
What is your favorite curse word?
Most people probably don't consider this a curse word, but I say it all the time because I have kids around, but I say, oh my hell. It applies to so many things. It has so many meanings. It can be like, oh my hell, you're so kind of like, oh sweetie, like, or I do something like, oh my hell, like, I love it.
What sound or noise do you love?
I love my kids' voices. Like with my son who has autism, around 18 months, like a lot of autistic kids, he stopped talking. And I was so worried because a lot of autistic kids are nonverbal. I was so worried I would never hear his little voice. And it was we kind of skipped that toddler stage with him. So he never, he would say a couple things, but it was mostly noises and stuff like that. So when he started talking again, when he talks to me, it just makes me so happy because I was so afraid I would never hear that. And now with my daughter, she's started talking so quick and all that. It has been great and really ahead in that stuff. And it makes me just as happy because I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful to hear your voice.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Probably my kid, like a scream from my kids when they're like in pain or hurt, when like my heart's pounding.
If you could only have one type of food during a stay-at-home quarantine, what would it be?
Probably like breakfast foods because there's a big variety in our house because my husband's Hispanic and so he ate a lot of things for breakfast I didn't grow up eating, and then there's also like waffles and pancakes and eggs and bacon, all the good stuff.
What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
Probably like a dietitian or a nutritionist. I really am interested in that stuff and I like learning about it.
What profession other than yours would you not like to do?
So this is funny because the reason I'm probably not a nutritionist is because you have to go to nursing school basically, and I would not want to be a nurse. I don't think I would be very good at like bedside manner. I mean, I have kids, so I'm used to seeing blood and all the gross stuff now, but I just don't think I could do it day in and out.
And the last question tonight. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I grew up in a religious household, and my parents are great, but I like probably a lot of self-imposed religious guilt is in me still from my teenage years and childhood. I would love God to just say, "You did fine. You did good enough. You're great."
Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It has been amazing to see you, and we need to catch up when this is all over.
Yes, we need to have like a get together. We need to do Canada Day.
I miss Canada Day very much.
I think it'd be so. That was like one of my favorite things about like hanging out with all you guys.
We're pretty crazy.
But you're all really chill and easy to get along with, which is really cool. So.
Well, thank you. Until hopefully by Canada Day we can get together.
I know, hopefully. But thank you for having me. I feel so privileged.